Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA weekly analysis and assessment. NVIDIA could not sustain above 140 level as I predicted in my previous video. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for next week using technical charts, fundamentals, and other data analysis. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, on Friday, Nvidia opened at 138.55. It made a high 139.02. It made a low 134.71 and it closed at 137.09. That is 2.03% down. But on Friday, overall market was under pressure. Let's take a look at S&P, Dow Jones and Nasdaq. So you see S&P was down about 1.11% and Nasdaq was down about 1.49% and also Dow Jones were down about 0.77%, and there was a clarity of direction. No big volatility or ups and down I see on Friday. And moving back to Nvidia, if you take a look last 5 days, Nvidia is still up about 5.5% and year to date is still above about 184%. Okay, and that's a very good return. And Nvidia already made some correction in last few weeks, so that's why you see that Nvidia started to gain some momentum last week, but it could not go above 141 and had to come down. Okay, now let's take a look weekly candlestick chart for Nvidia. You see weekly candlestick chart for Nvidia on your screen, and you can notice that the last week also ended positive, the green candlestick, and 1 week prior also ended positive. If you remember in my previous weekly analysis video, in the last weekend, I predicted that this week will also close positive, and that's what happened. And before that, you see some volatility ups and down, no clarity of direction. It was similar to this one or this one, and also this one. Okay, but good thing is Nvidia started gaining momentum in last week or so, and the next week I'm guessing Nvidia should also close positive. My price target for next week is 145 for Nvidia. Now let's take a look forward PE for Nvidia and other AI stocks. As you see on your screen, forward PE for Nvidia at this point is at 39.62, slightly below 40 forward PE, and that's why I think Nvidia should bounce back next week. Palantir at this point is 232.59, lower than the last week forward PE that was 236. SMCI 10.07, slightly higher than the last week closing. And also, I think SMCI has more potential to go further up next week. AMD 28.27, slightly higher than the last week closing. And same opinion that next week AMD should also show some recovery. Now, let's take a look quarterly percentage change analysis for NVIDIA, and that's a very important analysis. Let's take a look. So you see quarterly percentage change analysis for NVIDIA on your screen, and that's also based on the cumulative percentage change. So at this point, NVIDIA is down about 5.5% from the previous earnings report. In the last quarter, I showed you before as well, the minimum point NVIDIA touched was 12.81, and the highest point NVIDIA was up about 25.74 from the previous or 1 quarter prior earnings report. So in this quarter, Nvidia already touched about 12% down. So I'm not expecting Nvidia to go down below 126 anytime in next few weeks. So more potential for Nvidia to go further up next week based on the cumulative percentage change analysis as well. And also, one thing to remember, we now entered in the second month after the earnings. In the second month after the earnings, normally, historically speaking, things are slow for Nvidia. You know, I can give you the detailed analysis on this topic sometime in the next video. Okay. Now let's take a look technical chart for Nvidia. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the Fibonacci levels. So as we noted in my previous videos that 140.6 was a strong resistance level and Nvidia tried to break multiple times last week, but it could not sustain above a 140 level and it had to come down. And this is in line with my previous assessment or expectation. On the lower side, the next level of support is at 133.05. I'm guessing Nvidia might get a pullback from 133 in next week or so. On the upper side, the next level of resistance after 140 is at 152.89 and that's also all-time high. So overall, based on the Fibonacci levels, I'm expecting Nvidia should not go below 126, but more possibility for Nvidia to go further up above 140 level next week. Now, now let's take a look MACD chart as well. You see MACD chart on your screen, the second chart from the top. You see that MACD line is started going down on Friday or Thursday. Now it's below zero line. So that tells some negative momentum started appearing on Thursday and also on Friday. But the good thing is it did not go further down, unlike this one. Okay. So this tells me that it can get some recovery on Monday or Tuesday. Now let's take a look some news regarding Nvidia. You see news regarding Nvidia and overall market on your screen. So the last week I do not see too many news regarding Nvidia, pretty generic news and the generic commentary. If I scroll down, I find one thing that could be interesting, and that is this one. So this says key Nvidia supplier warns AI spending slowdown may trigger vicious downturn for chip makers. Let's open it. I think that's a very good topic that we should consider, and that tells recent concerns have emerged regarding potential slowdown in artificial intelligence investment by major US tech giants. And that's also I mentioned probably in my one of the previous videos few weeks ago that in the next quarter Nvidia is expecting some slowdown in the revenue and also in the profit margin, right? And one of the major reason is the lack of investment from their customer on the AI sector in the near future. And that includes large language models and other products you can imagine, right? And that can impact Nvidia earning per share as well in the next quarter or so. And also, if you scroll down further, so I do not find anything regarding Nvidia that we should be talking. So pretty generic news or analysis regarding Nvidia. So I don't want to waste my and your time on those. Now let's take a look at other AI stocks in my watch list. So as I mentioned on Friday, most of the stocks were negative. And in my watch list, you see all are negative except AMD, that's 0.10% up. And most of the negative change came in SMCI, that is 5.22% down. Now let's take a look the economic calendar for next week. So you see economic calendar for next week on your screen. You see, Monday, nothing much is coming up. Tuesday, pretty quiet as well. Wednesday, we have a New Year holiday. And Thursday, also, we do not see anything big. And also, Friday, just ISM manufacturing index. And that's not very important. So, next week is also quiet in terms of the economic data. So, probably we should not expect a high volatility next week as well on the overall market. So that's all about my analysis and assessment regarding NVIDIA for next week. And overall, if you want to summarize my today's video, I just want to tell all the investor that you should not be losing money on NVIDIA. Even if NVIDIA goes down, that should be a temporary thing and it should recover. In this quarter, we should not be expecting NVIDIA to go too high. And the reason is the next quarter earnings, we're not expecting NVIDIA profit margin to expand as big as it did in the previous quarters. Okay. But it does not mean that we should be selling NVIDIA for a loss. So I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.